So these polls that show that Republicans are less willing to acknowledge racial discrimination just during the protests, what's been going on during that time? What hypothetically could have triggered them to perhaps, as our guest Ben Dixon has been saying, more accurately reflect what they really thought? Well, one of the things is right-wing media has been doing everything they can to get people to not pay attention to the legitimate demands of the protesters. Here's a great example of it.
It's just amazing that all the rich ladies in Aspen and Greenwich think BLM is about ending racism, which obviously all of us are for, when in fact it's a revolutionary group. Maybe the U.S. government could take decisive action and by doing that, make it really clear that this is a terror organization.
That was Tucker Carlson once again declaring Black Lives Matter a terrorist organization. Just casually, as a throwaway line. That wasn't even scripted. He's just chatting with his guest, and he says, oh yeah, no, that organization that like 77% of the American public supports, that's a terrorist organization, like Al-Qaeda, like ISIS.
Yeah, and obviously like the clear-cut thing to be juxtaposed with that is the fact that they don't see the alt-right, right, as a terrorist organization.
Yep.
They barely see the actual Klan as a terrorist organization. The Boogaloo Boys, they don't see those as terrorist organizations. Yep. When we know, like, and this is, I hate to be repeat the same thing over and over again, but you're not a good faith actor, right? And when I say that, that means like there's no reason to talk with you anymore.
Yes.
There's no reason to debate with you anymore. There's absolutely no reason for me to be civil with you because you never meant to do right by us in the first place. So when you look at the Boogaloo Boys and you say nothing about them, or the Proud Boys, you say nothing about them, but you label a group that hasn't killed anybody, right? That has not killed anybody. You label them as a terrorist organization. That means you have an agenda, and that agenda is meant to hurt me. So there's nothing else for us to talk about. How tall is Tucker Carlson? That's what I need to know. I need to find out how tall he is. And that's just, we should just know that. I think that's important.
Zach, I don't know, but perhaps someone in the chat can tell us. Totally agree. I didn't want to, but I went on a rant about Tucker Carlson on the show yesterday. His middle name should be Bad Faith, because that is the only way he operates. By the way, that comment that we showed you with him saying that BLM is just a terror organization, I'm just going to throw that out as a comment. That's part of a new pattern for him. He recently said that the protesters and Antifa should be marched in front of cameras like MS-13. And he specifically said, and you can go back and watch this, he said, it's because of the perception. As long as we call them protesters, people will think they're legitimate. We have to label them terrorists so that people won't listen to them. He said that in his thing. And I want you to think about that. Saying, these people I disagree with, we need to call them terrorists so that no one will pay attention to them. And they'll be rounded up, they'll be locked up. This is a guy who complains about cancel culture constantly and believes that the free speech rights need to be respected. Now, anyone he disagrees with, he literally wants the federal government to designate them as terrorists so that no one will listen to their political message anymore.
Yeah. They try to do that. Remember, Trump just did that with Antifa, right? And then I remember that Trump did that 3 years ago with Antifa, right? And so they have no problem leveraging the full weight of the government to suppress political speech by giving us these labels that they get to determine, right? We can't even decide if someone using the N-word is racist. Right.
Yeah.
But they get to decide that people who they just don't like their political speech, that they're terrorist organizations. I found out that Tucker is about 6'1", so I'm going to have to lift my heavy bag a little bit higher at home, my uppercut bag, and practice this height 6'1", just as an expression of exercise and releasing all the anger that I might have towards him.
Exactly. Yeah. So a lot of people have been saying he's 6'1", but others are saying you should acknowledge he has a dad bod. I mean,
I have a dad bod times two, so we're gonna solidarity with dad bods.
That's true.
But Tucker could go to hell.
That's true. Yeah. Let's not vilify the dad bod. I'm working out so that someday I can have a dad bod. I'm working towards it. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.